Yes, people, it's John, it's Michael back again. We are spoiling you. 2 videos in 2 days here. So Michael, more so than me, was listening to Talk Sport today, and he had a finance expert on, Stefan Bosman or Boseman or whatever his name is. Brilliant. And he was basically talking about how far the deal is for the Friedkin group to take control of Everton Football Club. So Michael's going to fill us in on that because, as I've always said on here, Michael's more up to date with financial side of things regarding Everton and stuff. And also, just before we did start making the video, a few little snippets of rumours flying around today regarding a couple of players possibly leaving in January. So we will hit on them. So Michael, how are you doing?
I'm splendid, thank you, Captain. How are you?
Living the dream, supporting Everton. Yeah, so come on. So fill us in on what you heard today on TalkSport.
So I very often listen to TalkSport just because it's the only thing that seems to talk about football consistently on the radio. So I tend to listen to it. It's always talking about the big 6 or the big 4 clubs, whatever club you want to perceive them to be. They're always talking about that. And the guy that come on today, he's a former Manchester City employee. I think he was their finance director or something like that. And he was talking about how he fundamentally run, the finances at City, complying with the rules, etc. That's his history. But he come on today and he was talking about how the changes to the associated party conditions have changed for Premier League clubs. And for Everton, we voted against it. So there's not really much point talking about it. But they went on to Everton regarding the new owners and the new takeover. And Stefan made some quite interesting points, really. Nothing too scary, nothing sinister, but he made a couple of points. And my understanding, I can't remember the name of the company, but my understanding is that Dan Friedkin and his son have engaged in a consultancy to go and find essentially the next Everton CEO. So that fundamentally means that Colin Chong won't be in the position. We knew that. We heard that a couple of weeks ago, but, it was sort of brought out by a finance expert today. And the other thing he mentioned was the fact that, there's rumours that Everton have got FA approval and the Financial Conduct Authority approval, none of which have been 100% confirmed, but we do understand that they've been done. But then he comes on to this fit and proper persons test, and he gave a scenario. He was saying that Sir Jim Radcliffe, Manchester United, it roughly took 6 weeks for him to go through the process of buying his 25%. But it's already after 6 weeks for Dan Friedkin and Everton. And he was questioning why it's taken actually as long as it has. He said it could be that Manchester United are a big PLC. They've got shares and are on the stock exchange, I believe, and all of that stuff. But he is surprised it's taken this long for the fit.
Before you go any further, just let me jump in. Does Dan Friedkin only own Roma?
Yes.
Right. So maybe, does Jim Ratcliffe own any other football clubs?
He owns a team in, is it in France that he owns, or we did own? Was it just
the old up could be, Michael, because obviously he owns Roma as well, and they've got to look at stuff like that. I don't know, it could be something like that because it's like a 2-club ownership, isn't it?
It could be, but he spoke really positively about the future of Everton, really. In a brief cameo. I mean, literally, he talks about Manchester City for half an hour. Everton got 3 minutes. But in that short period, he was saying there's no smoke without fire. The Friedkin's bringing a new CEO in, shows the direction that he wants to take the club. And when you sit back and you look at it objectively, it's the right thing to do. We all want that. And I think Alan Myers caused a bit of a stir this morning, and kind of it's the whole reason I wanted to do this video, because he caused a bit of a stir. You sent me the tweet, and he basically said that Farhad Moshiri and the board are giving their full backing to Sean Dyche. And I said, I can't believe I've read that. And then you come out with the most obvious thing ever. But it wasn't obvious that I didn't think of it. But you essentially said, you're not surprised Moshiri's backing him. because he ain't going to be there in 4 weeks.
But why? He's not going to come out and go, well, at the minute, Sean Dyche is going nowhere, but in 4 weeks, I won't own the club. So the Friedkin group will probably sack him because he's a shit manager. He's not going to come out and say that, is he? So, but as I pointed out to you, in all seriousness, he's not going to pay him off out of his own pocket, is he? Why should he? He's not interested. Farhad Moshiri will not be the owner of Everton Football Club come May, right? When we know which league we're going to be in. So he won't be asked what league Everton are in next season. Farhad Moshiri doesn't give two hoots if Everton Football Club get relegated, because he's not going to lose anything, because the deal will be done by then. He doesn't care about the club. He's wanted out for some time now. Why would he pay him off? So he is going to come out and say that. But the Dan Friedkin group have got a big decision to make, whether they allow him to stay towards the end of the season and see if he picks results up, or did he pull the trigger now? It's not a video about Sean Dyche, this, so I think we've spoken enough about him, but I think we all know, mine and Michael's feel, and probably the majority of the fan base, that we hope the Dan Friedkin group make the decision sooner rather than later when they come in the door and pull the trigger. But Farhad Moshiri's got no allegiances to Everton Football Club anymore. Yeah, he's still the owner on paper. He's not bothered about the club. So he's not going to pay him off. And he is going to come out with comments in the press like that. Or wherever he said it and Alan Miser's got it from. So I wouldn't read too much into that. And I wouldn't get too worried that Sean Dyche is going to be here at the end of the season, because I don't think he will be.
Yeah, no, you're right. And you made a good point. And it's also going to be an interesting January for the Friedkins. You know, we understand that this deal is going to be done by mid-December. It would not. Me and you have sat here and said it wouldn't surprise me if it's done on the 1st of December. You know, it's going to happen any time now. You don't put all this money into the club, and you know this thing that Stefan said is he said he's probably put more money into the club since. You know, it won't be heard of, but the running day to day of the club is probably him. Friedkin. Yeah, he's probably doing that. So, was
it you who told me that today, or did I hear it somewhere else? That at the minute,
it was on TalkSport.
Yeah, the club basically. I mean, the club's running a loss for a long, long time now. But if it was left to Farhad Moshiri and not being involved in the club anymore and doesn't want to put any more money in, then the club's actually struggling to pay wages of the day-to-day running of the club. So obviously Dan Friedkin stepped in, and by all accounts, he's looking after that side of it as well.
Yeah. So there's all of that stuff, and then it's what the season looks like going forward after January when he comes in. You know, you've sent me a couple of links. We've got players that have been linked with leaving us. You know, Beto's been linked with Juventus. Beto was linked with, I think it was linked with a move to Lazio as well. Then you've got Calvert-Lewin today. You've literally just sent me the link saying that AC Milan are interested, but only on a free transfer. Newcastle are still interested. The Idrissa Gana guy has got interest from Saudi Arabia. And remember, he can sign a pre-contract agreement. He only signed a 1-year extension. So both of those players can sign an agreement to leave at the end of the summer for free. And Everton can try and get a bit of a fee for them in January. But it's just going to be interesting to see what the Friedkins do. And, you know, I think us as fans, it's been a tough ride this season. It really has, you know, and I think it's only going to get tougher before it gets better. But, you know, the Everton team could look very different from the end of January. Not because we've spent loads, but because we do different things. You know, maybe we send a lone player back. Maybe we lose Lewin. Maybe we lose Beto. You know, maybe Brozier's the next Wayne Rooney. Who knows? My point is, it looks very different, and it is rubbish. You know, like we hated the game on Saturday. We're probably going to hate the game this weekend. The Wolves game midweek, the week after, is going to be horrible. I mean, that is going to be vile. So I'm not infused by those games, but I am infused by what the future holds, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I don't think we're not going to see much money spent in January, obviously, unless I think in January, even if the Friedkin group are owners of the football club, if we do want to bring players in for, you know, I wouldn't say a substantial amount of money, but, you know, money worth talking about. I think the only way we spend that money is by selling an asset, because we're not going to get much for Calvert-Lewin if he does go. If Idrissa Gana guy does move to Saudi Arabia in January, we do have to replace him. He's a player who we do have to replace, because we've spoke on here the last couple of weeks. When he doesn't play, he's the sort of player we miss, because I don't really think we've got a player who does the job he does. You know, you can look at Mangala, and I don't think he's an Idrissa Gana guy. And then you look at Tim, who's out, obviously, Tim Ibrahim. I think he's more of a skillful midfielder, Tim, than a Idrissa Gana guy.
I do think Tim is close to it, because I think Garner can be quite skillful. But but Tim being injured is a bit of a blow, really, because he could be, I don't know where he is in his training, but he could be training alongside him. He could be learning. He could be, it's a bit disappointing that Tim isn't there. I know he can't help an injury, but it's a shame.
But this is the thing, we can't really afford to allow Garner guy go, not knowing. Tim could come back at the beginning of January, Michael, and break down in training again, or go off injured again in a game. And then if we let Garner guy go, that's a big hole to plug, because I don't think Takeover can do what Garner guy does. Takeover does nothing, in my opinion. So if we're letting these players go, even Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he's replaceable. There's no two ways about it. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is replaceable. But when you've got a player who's playing week in, week out, even though he's been shocking, you still have to replace a player who's been playing every week, because it's obvious Beto's not good enough to start. So then we're looking at Brozier. It's going to take him a while to get up to speed. Chimiti, it's probably going to take longer. Brozier is playing for the under-21s tonight. I did see a little report before. I think Chimiti's a little bit further behind Brozier, but I think Brozier will be in and around the team quicker than what Sean Dyche normally brings players back. I think this could be the quickest you're going to see Sean Dyche bring a player back in Brozier. I really do. I think he'll fast track him a bit more than what he has done in the past. We've seen it with Branthwaite. How long he's nurtured him, and he said he's not Premier League fit. I actually think he probably throws Brozier in quicker than we've ever seen from Sean Dyche. That's if he's still the manager. But I think looking at January, it's going to be a quiet month on the club spending money. I think we are still restricted in certain ways. Also, if we pay Sean Dyche off the remainder 6 months of his contract, unfortunately, them figures go onto the next PSR figures. So we've got to be careful with that. The only way around that is put them on garden and leave and carry on paying them. But as you pointed out today, then you're paying two managers. Are the Friedkin group going to be happy doing that? What you do? Just to look at taking another hit with 2 points, or do you pay two managers until his contract's up in 6 months? These are big decisions this group of people have got to make from when they come in. Then we see where we are in May. And then I think from next summer, you will see a massive, massive change in the football club. That's if Sean Dyche sees it to the end of the season. Then you're going to be looking at, well, I think we can spend a bit more next summer, whether it's with Kevin Thelwell as well. So that's probably another thing we could speak about. The director of football, a new CEO is going to come in. It's going to be massive changes, but I think you'll see more after the January transfer window, when these start getting their feet under the table and making decisions all around the club.
Yeah, I think it's spot on. And I do think they'll be in quite quickly, because they'll want to sort out the pricing on the stadium. They'll want to look at everything. They'll want to look at everything. They'll want to understand everything. And to be honest, they probably are in the background. They're literally, they probably know everything that's going on at that club right now. But obviously they just can't be involved because they don't own the club. They've paid off loads of money. They probably put more money in, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention it, really, to be honest, and see where we are.
Just stay there for 1 minute. If this goes off, I'll join the link.
Okay, have you got breaking news?
Can you still hear me?
Yeah. What's going on, everyone? John's disappeared. Well, he hasn't. He's still there, but his face is comatose. Yeah. So moving on to Manchester United, then people. Obviously, this week has been horrendous, and it's only Monday, so we've got a whole week of this. It'll be interesting to see how Rozier does in the under 21s, and I'm semi. I'm going to try and watch the game and see how he gets on. To be honest, and see what you say.
My face back.
Yeah, but no one wants to see it.
Brilliant. Rozier, Patterson, and O'Brien are all playing for the under 21s tonight.
Wait, there we go. The boys are back in town. Boys are back in town.
Yeah, I mean, Jake O'Brien's a funny one because he hasn't been injured. He's just been sitting on the bench, hasn't he? I mean, as you quite pointed out today, I don't think he was even on the bench on Saturday, was he?
Honestly, I don't. It sounds awful, but I don't even look for his name anymore because I just don't expect to see him playing. I feel so sorry for a lad that scored 2 goals in 2 games in pre-season. He's 6'6". He's fairly quick, is my understanding. Played in the European qualifiers for Ireland and whatever, and I'm pretty sure he's played in Europe in the past. I can't get over the fact we haven't seen it.
I think it's the perfect example, this, of it was a Kevin Thelwell signing and not a Sean Dyche signing. I think
How many times have we said this?
I know, but it's obvious. I think we had another player there as well who was exactly the same, Dan Juma. I don't think that was a Sean Dyche signing.
My worry is, if I'm being honest, that players like Beto weren't, and Chimiti, and and the ones that you can tell were Sean Dyche signing was like Jack Harrison because he signed him twice.
And Lynch.
Awful. Well, okay, well, I'm gonna find somewhere to go and watch that game, John. If I'm being honest, and embrace it, watch it. Is this what I've just received off your son?
He's just sent me something, so he's probably sent you something at the same time.
Right, guys, I'm gonna freeze now as well.
I think it's what I've just read out.
It absolutely is. It's just what John read out. Right. So, guys, we will leave it there. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. We thought we'd just pop on, do a little 17-minute and 9-second video. Hit the like and subscribe. Make sure you consistently say that John Dudley, and we will see you soon. Anything to end, John?
No, just that you are going to have to start sitting back from the camera because your head's that big. You can only see that much.
I mean, that is outrageous, size.
Wide lens camera needed.
With your little head.
Brilliant. Hey, no, Blackpool, thank you for my birthday. Woohoo! Sure, the video going out.
So, for anyone who is in Blackpool on Saturday evening, make sure you come and find me and John. We'll be available on Twitter. Message us, and we'll make sure that you buy John a drink because he deserves it. 57 years old is our job.
-7.
-84.
Like your nan.
Right. Have a blended evening, and we will see you all for the match preview on Thursday. Peace.
Yeah, cheers, folks. Unless there's any breaking news.
Yeah, which is hopefully John's face. Ta-ra.
Bye-bye.